TDN again. We're just moving on for our last couple of videos regarding the B-tag and Woodpecker hot boxes, both the aluminium and the steel. So now we're going to go through some of the benefits in real time of the extra cables, etc. that Colin's made from Woodpecker. This is how most people are generally going to have when they buy the hot box for the first time. They're going to sit it on top of their cart with the 1.2 metre cable. They're going to go and do a rail. And guess what? This is going to end up falling on the floor. This is the cart cable. And remember, this has the connection that can go into either of the boxes. But what you could do is actually affix that here. Place your machine safely underneath the cart.
Plug that into the cart cable connector. This would be screwed to the cart, and if I got to the end of this cable and pulled, it's not going to pull the machine off the cart.
This is the one that comes with the hot box from standard. So we're going to plug that into the machine. All right, put our heat pen on the end. As you can see, number one issue, we're not quite long enough, and this is how these machines are end up getting dropped. What we're going to do, we're going to swap out to the 3 metre version. Now, 3 metres, we can work on this on it over here without any major problems. So it just gives you that little bit more scope. Now, moving up to the 9 metre one, you can probably do most of the car leaving it in one spot, couldn't you?
Pretty much, I reckon a 3 metre one, if you was in the middle of the car, you would get all down one side of the car.
Okay.
A 5 metre one, if you had the cart at the front of the car, you could get all down one side and then all down the other.
Yep.
And a 9 metre one, you could go all the way around the car.
Yep. So what I'm going to do, we're using the straight connector on this one. Remember earlier in the video we said we had the straight or the right angle connector. Now this is where the right angle connector would actually be more useful, because when this is plugged into the heat pen, now we have this loop coming around. Now obviously if you have the right angle connector, now the cable would lay quite nicely along your arm without this. This is constantly wanting to pull the pen back. But we're going to use the Heatsabre on this one. This is the 400. So we're just going to plug this in. So now we're all set up nicely. So we've got, like anything, when you're repairing a dent, the further away you can be, or the more scope you've got to be further away, generally the easier it is, and the better your repairs are going to be. Say 600 more for sort of panel fans and centre roofs.
I'm going to say, you will find that some rails, for example, where the rail is curved, the 600 is not going to be of use to you, because you want this head to be at 90 degrees to the dent. And if the rail is curving away from you, when you get 600mm away, it is elbows up in the air. So the 400 is better for that. But you get the middle of an estate roof or a van roof or something, and the 600 then comes into its own.
So you're right-handed.
I am right-handed, but I would normally be using this in my left hand, because I have my blending hammer in my right hand.
Right.
One of the other benefits of using this with a blending hammer that we didn't discuss before was the crux of using a hotbox is the hotbox creates heat in a panel. The metal with the heat expands. When the metal expands, it does it really fast in a really small area, so that the metal around it doesn't expand, so that excess metal has to go somewhere.
Yeah.
And invariably, it takes the easiest path of going up or down. If it's a convex panel, it will come up. If it's a concave panel, it will go down and make the dent bigger. So most bonnets are of a convex sort of construction. So when you heat this and the excess metal wants to go to its easiest point, it's going to come up. Now, because when the metal comes up, it creates this pimple, it will still cool down, and a lot of the dent will go back in. So what we need to do is to move that metal to where it needs to be whilst it's up there, so that when it cools down, it's more in the position that you want it to end up in. And the benefit of using this with your blending hammer is, without it, I've got one hand on the heat pen, I zap it with a hot box, and then I've got to put that down and pick up my pecker and my hammer, by which time this has had several seconds to cool down.
Most of the times when you hit this on top of a brace, if it's a glue brace, the glue will heat up and everything will sink. But if you put a little bit of tension through that glue, so if you pop your whale tail into the glue and just put a touch of tension on, when you hit the hot box on top, the panel will actually rise. But what that's going to enable you to do again is work two-handedly, for instance, rather than, you know, if I'm holding this heat pen, you know, all of a sudden everything becomes that little bit more, you know, more difficult. So another little benefit. We've got a dent set up here, little gravy hole dent. One thing I wanted to go through, which is something I found, you know, very, very nice. Some of the older veteran techs, it's like getting a repetitive strain, you know. So I would operate this using my thumb, the button.
Yeah, I would do it, yeah.
Some guys I know would use their finger. Now, for argument's sake, I'm going to set this up. I'm right-handed, so if I was using this without a blending hammer and I was working this way, now obviously this button now is set up perfectly on my thumb. Okay, so if I then switched, because we do have this ability to swivel the head on the top, so I can work left-handed. So if I was working with the blending hammer at the same time, now obviously my button's gone, it's over here now, so I'd have to operate this with my finger. To me, that is,
it makes it difficult.
It's not a natural. So the beauty about this, we can spin this over, and now we've got, not only have we got viewing triangle in line with everything, but I've also got this button now back, so enabling me to work more comfortably.
I'm just going to heat that up, let it rise. Blending that metal back to where it should be. And that'll be fine now.
Please visit www.tdntools.com, or why not subscribe to our YouTube channel to see many more reviews like this of latest tools.